Hey, how you doing? Dale, your librarian here, and I'm here to talk about the ADA Title II issues and strategies, but specifically with like an old PDF file and what's going on with other people supporting it, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a few things to show you. One of the things to think about is when we have books, this one's from 1927, or we've got microfilm, which is really fun. These solved for their time issues of like how much space it took up, or whether it could be distributed, or whether like PDF files preserve formatting. So it was, at the time, these things were really good. But new technology comes along that solves problems like accessibility. So the ADA information is recorded in several great spots. And I'm going to forward all these links to you. So at the U has like a breakdown. The deadline's April 24th. There's advice in here about like spring semester versus summer and fall. So the thing that I learned was like the time to panic is not quite yet because the semester might end. Next one is University Marketing and Communications, gives like a fact sheet and roadmaps and counseling and things like that. And the Center for Teaching Excellence has accessibility like video tutorials and things like this. I'll send you all these links. But what's going on and what does Dale recommend as a strategy to help meet compliance? So this isn't like everything, and this isn't like a black and white, this is everything that you do, but it's kind of like what I'm telling people to do right now. Okay, so first of all, PDFs come along in the early 90s. Wikipedia and AI disagree, but it's like 91, 92, 93. Portable document format was something to, ironically, take it away from accessible text, which was at the time probably an earlier version of HTML. So you could preserve the formatting, you could keep the paragraphs, you could keep the font and all these other things. And it was great at the time because it would look exactly like the book that it came from. The problem that we ran into though, same thing, you could scan one of these and make a full-size document that could be shared in a PDF. The problem is the text wasn't readable by somebody with a screen reader. So that's problematic for accessibility, especially come April 24th. So what do we do about this? Well, here's the first thing that we got to go through. When you go to the library, so you're going to the library databases, or you're going to the library catalog, all of these databases are provided by people who work with education. So it's pretty likely that a lot of these are going to be in pretty good shape for being accessible already. Here's the thing to look for if you want to. When you're going into like new articles, so new being in our current century, so here's one from 2023, here's one from 2024. They're always going to have the PDF version, but they're always going to have like HTML text or read online. Let's see what this one looks like. Hey, look at that. So if I'm in a screen reader, something that reads out the text for me, there are hidden tags back here that let me know that this is a title, and it will read it at a different pace. So if I'm in like a regular paragraph, or if there's a break for a paragraph, it'll let me know audibly with those tags, and I don't have to know any of those. But if I go in the PDF file, sometimes these aren't embedded. Here's a fun exercise. Fun for me, maybe not for you, is you can grab this. By the way, if you have an old PDF and somebody said it's not accessible, if you can select the text like this, it has been kind of translated using something called optical character recognition. But if you want to tell for sure what it looks like, you can cut and paste. So you can see the words, but look at this. There's no priority for sections or for the title or for paragraphs or things like that. We lose a lot of the formatting. So that's why this one's better, especially for somebody working with a screen reader. Screen readers are handy though, because it'll read the articles out too. A lot of these you'll have this option where it can read it out for you. I don't know if this one has one. A lot of the EBSCO databases have that. How do you find an article? So let me show you an example of something that might be older. So if you go to the library homepage, go to Advanced Catalog Search, and I'm going to search for an article that I was working with a faculty recently. Hopefully they will forgive me. I'm not going to name them because we de-identify everything. Make sure and do your search for the title in quote marks, because this is an old school database where it looks for the letters, and if you put quotes, it'll include the spaces too. So it's just looking for this. There's like a ton of stuff, but I looked before. So I knew the author it's number 14 in the list. Here we go, Rosenhan. Here you can see there's a Get PDF and Read Online, but this one's from 1973. So what we have is this goes to a database called JSTOR. JSTOR is, they love PDFs. And I loved JSTOR when it first came out in the 1990s. I'm declaring how old I am, because it preserved the formatting and it looked like I was looking at a real journal. JSTOR, which I believe runs out of Johns Hopkins University, correct me if I'm wrong, they are doing a massive retrofit effort to do that OCR scanning. And so these are going to be readable. Is it going to preserve the formatting? Is it going to be really usable? No, I think this feels kind of like a halfway house. This gets us out of just the image-only PDFs, but it does not get us all the way to properly formatted text. But for older articles like this, I think there is accommodations. Dale is not giving legal advice here, but I think there's accommodations for older stuff. So if you're taking something that was just published this year in 2026, and you're doing an image-only PDF, that is going to be frowned upon. If you're grabbing something from a previous century, if you link to some good database like JSTOR or the EBSCOs or the Webs of Sciences and things like that, that's a great way to go. How do we do that, though? Do we go and link from the, let's see, it's called like a permalink. Permalink, I found out, is not permanent. It expires. When does it expire? I don't know. It depends on if you're looking at it. It's kind of like Schrodinger's permalink. So that's people are putting those into their Canvas module, and it's working until it doesn't work. How do we get around that? Let me show you a demo. And I have a link with my demo too. So from Canvas, there's course materials. If you're not familiar with this, this is kind of like the electronic version of the way it used to be with the Reserve Desk. When you click on course materials, oh, and if you don't know how to get into this, I'll show you a tutorial, and I'll send that in the link. Course materials, I opened it up in a new tab, and I looked for that article. This is just my own course. It's not in the course management system officially. It's just a side one. But here, I added that article. So here's the cool thing that'll happen. As JSTOR, which is where this came from, let's see. Let's go to the article. So your students would click on this, and it would send them to that JSTOR link. Isn't that cool? As JSTOR does back cataloging for things, it's likely that these links will be updated with more recent or more accessible articles or formatting or tags that are embedded that we can't even see. So if you host your own PDF, you don't get the benefit of any of those. How do we use the course materials? There's a link, and there's a 10-step guide. It should be a 12-step guide, shouldn't it? This has been Dale, your librarian. Reach out to me if I can help you, but it seems like there's a lot of people on campus working on this. But these are just some tips to get you through the tough times of those old PDFs.